Flee, flee! As we walk down Liverpool High Street, we cannot help but be reminded that our streets are littered with companies profiting off the genocide of Palestinians, profiting from the Israeli occupation of Palestine. Our streets are
ethnic cleansing in your name.
Welcome everyone.
Oh, and Una.
Welcome to the march. And thank you for demonstrating today, nearly 15 months on, of this current genocide. So in the past 15 months, 44,382 are the minimum, and I say minimum because they're dying every minute as them bombs are hitting Gaza. So as we are standing here, as we are marching today, more people in Gaza are dying. Last night, there was another attack on Gaza. A building was bombed, with killing at least 42 people. So we've had 105,132 people injured in this last 15 months, and 796 killed by Israeli settlers. And what's an Israeli settler? A land robber that goes to land that doesn't belong to them. And they kill these people. These aren't IDF, these are settlers. They'll have guns or they'll beat them to death, dragging them out their homes and steal those homes. Sorry, bear with me one sec. So that's 796 have been killed by those land grabbers. And this week, yesterday, 42 Palestinians killed last night as Israel ramped up its attacks on Gaza. And they were killed in one building. And people will still be under the rubble as we are standing here now. And we also have to note that those who survived these blasts of the building also face the deadly risk of asbestos contamination. The deaths are many-fold, not just deaths by being bombed. And the medics say that an Israeli drone strike killed Ahmed Al-Khalid, head of the intensive care unit at Kamal Adwan Hospital. They target the medics, they target journalists, they target aid workers, they target people who are helping other people. That's the depravity of the Israeli government. Shame on them. And shame on their enablers. Shame on people who support them. Shame. Shame on the genocide deniers. So let's talk a little bit about the genocide before we have our first speaker. So in January 2024, the ICJ said it was plausible that Israel had breached the Geneva Convention. And on the 14th of November, the UN Special Committee to investigate Israel's practices said Israel's warfare in Gaza is consistent with genocide. And the ICC, which has 125 member states, issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu on the 21st of December. And they can keep their arms over their own once, because we know what is happening and we are denying the genocide. So this arrest for Netanyahu relates to his war crimes of using starvation as a method of warfare and targeting killing civilians. So by supplying arms, intelligence and political protection, the UK is complicit in the genocide. So what's the Labour government saying about this genocide? They have not stated that they would arrest Netanyahu, even though they said they respect the independence of the ICJ. Tory MP Nick Timothy said, there is not a genocide in Gaza. I'm referring to genocide in Gaza, which is not appropriate. And Labour's David Lammy agreed. Shame on him! Francesca Albanese from the UN accused Lammy of being a genocide denier and accused Labour of doing nothing to prevent the atrocities in Gaza. And I think we will all agree on that. And we know Netanyahu's method of starvation continues. UNRWA made 91 attempts to deliver aid between October and November this year. And Israel obstructed 82 of these attempts. And UNRWA is now pausing due to safety concerns. Safety concerns heightened because the World Central Kitchen workers, 3 killed, again, aid workers. How can these people support the deaths of aid workers? People who are helping starving people. What kind of person supports that?
They do.
It's just beyond, it's beyond belief, isn't it? Anyway, on Friday, the starvation is just so bad. On Friday, 3 people were crushed to death in an attempt to get food. A woman and 2 children. It's just horrendous to hear that people are starving so much and this genocide continues. Anyway, I'd like to give a big welcome to our first speaker, who we know she spoke here before, proud campaigner for Palestine, and she's knackered after being in London yesterday and doing the Santa dish this morning. Big hand to Ansan. Thank you, everybody.
I hope you can hear me at the back, and I hope you can hear me on the other side. Yes. Okay? I feel like throwing these away, these pieces of paper that I started on this morning, because I wasn't expecting to see a little counter-protest here. But what they've got to remember is that there's more of us than there are of you. And that was... There is always going to be more of us than there is of you. I was in London yesterday for the national demonstration, and the same thing happened then, another counter-protest. And again, there's more of us than there were of you. We're approaching the holiday season in this country and around Europe. But there's not going to be any holidays for any children in Gaza. Why is Palestinian life so worthless as against ours? Every Palestinian life is as precious as another.
Yes.
We defend the Palestinians' right to defend themselves and to resist. People have said to me, why are we marching here for 15 months? Well, I'll tell you why we're marching. We're marching for justice for the dead and the martyred. We're marching for justice for Palestinians in struggle. And we are marching to end the occupation in Gaza. And we are not stopping. So you can go home to your nice little families and think about doing something else in a little counter-protest next week. But we won't. And we will continue carrying on, boycotting, and every protest we can go to. Brothers and sisters, I was on something that should have been nice this morning on a Santa dash in this city. And my little granddaughter said, we should do this for the kids in Gaza, Nana. And I said, yeah, we should. So we collected 250 quid. Now, my poor little granddaughter, unfortunately, had a high temperature last night, and she wasn't well enough. And she is home, in the warmth of her family home, being looked after by her dad. That's not happening to the poor kids in Gaza. If something happens to them, nobody who's looking after them. We've had 15 months of marching, The Israelis have had 15 months of bombing children, women, old people, medics, doctors and nurses. There have been more bombs dropped in Gaza, and I want you to listen to this, that were ever dropped in Dresden and Hamburg during the World War II. No matter what Israel does and what it's still going to do, the USA and the UK government have already said they're going to support Israel. Their bombs have destroyed cities, villages, families. They have created more haters of Zionism than anybody. And I would say that they've also initiated a war themselves. The Israelis have initiated a war here that is actually going to last for a long time, because our memories won't fail. Our resistance is still alive. But even after all the killing, and their own defence minister said, this is not going to win, we're not going to win militarily. After all the bombing and the cutting off resources and the water and food, that resistance is still carried on. Atrocities are still being carried out today, and even the Israeli Defence Force Minister under Netanyahu said, we will not win this. So what did they then do? Said, well, okay, we're not going to win them militarily, we'll try and starve them out. And that's exactly what they're doing. Karen has just referred now to the 3 people that died on Friday. They were waiting in a bread shop for meagre supplies. Biden is now shocked even by what Netanyahu has done, and he's now trying to put a leash on him. But unfortunately, he gave him the green light 15 months ago. And 15 months ago is when Biden should have said, hang on, this has got to stop. They'd like to say nothing has changed. But yes, a lot has changed. We've got 100,000 dead, cities, hospitals, schools, all destroyed, doctors and nurses slaughtered, no medical facilities. Our UK's government's response to this, and to journalists and to others who tried to expose the atrocities that are being committed, have tried to use the Terrorism Act of 2000 to intimidate and silence pro-Palestinian voices. We will not be silenced, and that's why we are marching here. That is why we are keeping up the fight. We have to keep up and raise the awareness of the plight of our brothers and sisters. All over the UK and the world, voices are still speaking out, and we will continue to put pressure in all our representatives in government and locally. It is still shameful that in this city we have still not had any MPs come along here and support us on our marches and to support the Palestinian struggle. It is absolutely outrageous. And what is even more outrageous is that we've got Liverpool City Council who've done absolutely nothing. They haven't put up a Palestinian flag, they put nothing up in support. Now we've been marching here every week to Derby Square for the past 15 months. And I've not seen any of them over here. We've seen some independent councillors, we've seen some Greens, but we've not seen them. And what I'm going to say now is that we should be now taking this march to them. When the next council meeting is on, we should be taking all of us over there and not coming to a square here and letting us know. The ICC, this month, the top criminal court in the world, have only come out and said what we've been saying for months, that they are using genocide as a method of warfare, attacking women and children. It's genocide, genocide, genocide. And genocide means that they are going to try and obliterate the whole of the Palestinian people. We will not let that happen. The barbarism that's carried on, the beheading of children, the raping of women, all of those atrocities cannot continue. But we will fight on. The list is endless about the atrocities. I can't even begin to tell you. But now, when I think about it, not even Reagan or Bush allowed themselves to be drawn into a conflict as horrific as that. They are prepared to let people starve, no water, no food, disease, no care.
Shame on that.
We are part of the International Criminal Court. Keir Starmer, you're supposed to be a human rights lawyer. Where are the human rights for the Palestinian people? You've completely ignored them. You've ignored them for years, and you've ignored them now. What are you going to do?
He's a human rights liar.
The whole world knows it, and we know it. You're going to do nothing. So all we can do is keep up the pressure here, keep up as much pressure as you can. You're writing your MPs. We will actually march to the town hall, let them know what's going on, that we are not happy that our representatives are ignoring us week after week after week. We're part of a larger movement here. Yesterday when I was in London, there was 200,000 people on the march, and that carries on every 2 weeks. We have a lot of people here. There's marches taking place, not just in Liverpool, the UK, but all over the world. We are not responsible for what our government does. It's not in my name and it's not in your name. It's to their shame. And our councillors and MPs have now got to start standing up. You should have done it 15 months ago, because I am sick of watching television programmes about children being maimed, about children being under rubble and no one being able to get them alive out at all. I can't really speak much more now because I'm absolutely... I can't believe that they can sleep at night. How can they sleep at night?
The backhoe in the war machine. All of them, like the council.
And all I can say to you now is Barclays Bank, Liverpool City Council, puts all their accounts through Barclays Bank. Barclays Bank is one of the biggest enablers, the biggest investors into arms for Israel. And that's where we should be going and demanding that this system